Vivi works for a dating app that fails at true love. She takes the help of a successful matchmaker, Raina, to improve her app. Things get weird when Raina's son Boom helps Vivi find a match. Vivi is a creative executive at Datamate. She shares her personal story of how effective the dating app is. Her team conducts thorough surveys and updates the algorithm to help the users find love. Vivi's own successful relationship with Kenny through an app becomes an example for everyone. She has been dating him for a year and a half. Her friend Nella thinks she might be married by her next birthday at this rate. Their boss, Adam, is excited about Vivi finding true love. He feels their app is successful since it helps people like her. Vivi is relieved to find the one after a string of unsuccessful matches. It seems too good to be true. Adam invites them to a party that night to celebrate Kenny and Vivi. Her parents, Walter and Janice, are excited about her. Walter feels Adam should have given her a bonus instead of a party. Janice knows he's only saying this because he hates parties. When they start arguing about a dinner they had decades ago, Vivi helps them see each other's perspectives. She knows Walter wants her to be appreciated at work, while Janice wants her to enjoy life. They both want what's best for her, so she asks them to make peace with it. Vivi is still sure no one can ruin this day. She flips a coin into a wishing fountain, which ends up hitting Boom on the head. He doesn't understand why Vivi needs to stand at a particular spot to make her wish. He suggests she should be more spontaneous when she admits her wishes don't always come true. Vivi used to wish for true love, but now she's wishing to optimize it. Boom finds this hilarious and feels she sounds like a Valentine's Day robot. I can't argue with that. He knows she has an aggressive stance towards love, which works for some people. He's the kind of person who wants to let life happen to him and doesn't try to control it. When Kenny goes to get a drink for Vivi at the party, she notices a text from his boss. She finds out that he's cheating on her and confronts him about it. He explains that he was about to break up with her but didn't want her to come to this party alone. How considerate is that? She reminds him he wouldn't have cheated if he cared. Kenny admits they had their nice moments, but he was tired of living up to the standard of a successful couple based on her app's criteria. She doesn't let him play the victim and reminds him she wanted someone who would appreciate the relationship equally. She breaks up with him and destroys all their photos. Well, so much for true love. She feels bad about not seeing what was in front of her. She decides to take all of her sick days to recover from this and comes back to the office after 2 months. Datamate is still using her videos with Kenny as an example of a successful relationship. Talk about irony. Vivi has used Datamate the right way, so she wants to know what went wrong. She approaches Dom from the analytics team. Dom explains that the app didn't work for a lot of people like her. The success rate of a relationship on their app is just 20% in any case. She wonders if the flaw is in the algorithm or the questions the engineers have created. Their app still makes hundreds of millions of dollars a year, so Dom doesn't think there's any flaw. Fair point. Vivi hates that the app failed her. She's tried everything and is worried about perishing alone. Nella tries to distract her with the television, but she finds her and Kenny on it. This torture needs to stop. Nella changes the channel to Raina Kumar's matchmaking series. Raina explains how she uses Indian traditions and ancient methods to ensure 95% of her clients enjoy lifelong relationships. Vivi feels if the numbers are real, they can use Raina to improve their app. Raina is impressed with Vivi's knowledge of her show, but doesn't understand how she can help Datamate. Vivi wants Raina to consult with them for 3 months, even if she's aware her matchmaking traditions are only for Indians currently. She wants to digitize the process and evaluate the success rate. Raina explains that she's driven by biodata, Rashi, and Guna, and doesn't care for analytics. She introduces them to her son, Boomesh, or Boom. What a surprise. He asks Vivi about her boyfriend and teases her about not optimizing love since she has broken up. That has to hurt. Raina explains that Boom has done business management at Wharton, so he runs her business. Vivi knows Raina has a successful show, but thinks multiple dating apps must have affected her business. Boom agrees with Vivi and feels partnering with Datamate will help them get their own app on their terms. He wants their ancient matchmaking traditions to be accessible to today's users. Vivi knows Datamate's services can also be improved by working with Raina. If Raina develops an app, it will be a top priority for all of Datamate's clients. Raina refuses to analyze her matchmaking traditions because she feels it has to be experienced. Since she doesn't want to change the process, Vivi offers to hire someone who can become a client for her and take part in the process. Boom likes this idea. He knows they can take credit for any improvement in Datamate's process with this collaboration. Raina agrees to meet them halfway, but only wants a client who is serious about finding a life partner and respects their culture. Vivi is sure there are many people like her who are eager for this kind of matchmaking process. Reina chooses Vivi as her client after noticing how passionate she is about this. This also gives them a chance to tap into the non-Indian market to help bring love to people like her. Vivi isn't sure she's ready for this, but Boom also thinks she's a perfect client. He teases her about being with her every step of the way as her client concierge. Seems a bit sadistic. Reina and Boom are disappointed with Vivi's bio data, which is all about work credentials and a fun survey. Boom explains that their process is more personal, so she needs to write about what her potential partner would think of her. Reina asks her thoughts about marriage and kids too, which seems like a lot for her to decide so soon. Boom doesn't have a bio data, but he feels he would write about how mature he is while navigating through life. Vivi understands by example that she could write about being a go-getter. She feels his strategy is working and asks for more tips to improve her bio data. They both agree on their philosophy of equal partnership, which surprises them. Reina makes someone read Vivi's palm to look for traits and love in her destiny. The palm reader thinks Vivi will find long-lasting love through a mother figure she trusts. This makes her more excited about Reina's process working. Reina explains that she needs to give every guy a fair chance for this to work. She thinks chemistry isn't necessarily instant, and a winning relationship goes beyond statistics surveys. This actually seems promising. Reina is disappointed with Datamate's questionnaire. Boom explains it's because none of their questions can determine a relationship's potential. Reina wants Vivi to focus on practical matters like finances and how much people prefer going out socially. Vivi always assumed these things would work out with the right partner. It seems like Reina knows better. Vivi's house already tells Reina a lot about her, but Boom suggests adding more color. He knows if she wants to make an effort in a relationship, she needs to start with how she lives. She hates that he makes good points and lets him redecorate her place. Reina asks about Vivi's dating history, but Boom keeps interrupting to tease her about it. Surely there's nothing going on with her. Vivi asks about his past relationships, but Reina knows it has been too long since he got a girl to meet her. She shows some potential matches for Boom, who are all beautiful and perfect. But Boom doesn't feel the need to date because he's focusing on keeping the family business afloat. Reina wants to know more about how Vivi grew up, so they decide to visit her parents. Reina explains to her folks that it's important to be involved in Vivi's relationship. Vivi doesn't let them talk about her childhood and claims it was great. It sure seems like it. When Walter and Janice start arguing about the commuter, Vivi changes the topic. Vivi suggests some changes for Nella for the questionnaire, based on what Reina taught her. She asks Adam to be patient with Reina's method, and is sure they'll profit from it. Vivi finds Boom playing soccer during her jog and explains she took a different route that day. Boom comes to the park every week and tries to play a different sport. He has volunteered that day for a game to raise funds for foster kids. She admires that about him, but he ruins it by teasing her about being more spontaneous with her usual route. Someone seems to be rubbing off on her. Boom explains that it's important for her to meet the families of her matches for a long-lasting relationship. Her parents start arguing in front of Paul, who is still courteous to her. He brags about having a habit of displaying good manners. That's so humble. She develops a rapport with Leonard, but another match doesn't understand what she means by a love language. Boom warns her about deflecting, but she reminds him he's a matchmaker who doesn't want to commit. Reina suggests Vivi should show her human side more during these interactions. Leonard is a hedge fund guy, so he instantly clicks with Vivi as they talk of pattern recognition and predictive models. Tristan describes how his heart races in nature and how he wants that with another person. Vivi also describes how sweaty her forehead seems with that special someone. Boom rolls his eyes because of the cheesiness. After 3 days of these meetings, Vivi admits Tristan stood out the most, but she also likes the dynamic between Paul and Leonard. Reina loves the effort she made and promises to fix up more dates. She invites Vivi for a traditional Indian dinner at her place to celebrate. Reina is conducting a prayer on the 5th mortality anniversary of Boom's father, Pratik. Vivi enters the door but stops when she hears their conversation. Boom didn't realize it had been so long since he was cut off from the family. Reina reminds him it's important for the parents in their culture to see the kids settled. She knows Pratik's dying wish was for Boom to get married so he can have a happy life. Reina is tired of Boom dating superficially and thinks he should look for something more serious. Don't we all? Vivi accidentally drops something and alerts them of her presence. Ouch. Reina warmly welcomes her, and Vivi can't get over the aroma of her korma. Boom offers to take over the cooking, and they discuss how he's a good son. Reina admits her relationship with Pratik was very special. They had an arranged marriage through a matchmaker, but the love between them was always special. They never had enough money when they shifted out of India, but Pratik always rented out the latest Bollywood films and made her tea in the morning. Raina promises to find this kind of love for Vivi too. Raina asks Boom to tag along to the engagement ceremony of a couple they matched, Priya and Amit. Boom has a concert that day, but Vivi kicks his foot. He realizes she wants him to be considerate of Raina's feelings, so he claims he will try to make it. Boom is impressed with Vivi's spice tolerance because she has traveled the world. Raina watches them banter about the places on their bucket list. Now there's some chemistry. Boom feels this is a nice side of her that she should include in her profile. They start jogging together too, and he promises to set up light and fun dates for her that weekend. Boom remembers Pratik after looking at a father-son duo. He recalls the time he forced Pratik to take him fishing. Both of them were terrible at it, and they spent hours on a boat without a catch. He misses him, and thinks Vivi would have gotten along great with him. How sweet is that? Vivi tricks her parents into coming for a marriage counseling session. She wants them to have the great relationship she will soon have too. She guilts her dad by reminding him she has paid for all sessions. Adam asks Vivi and Nella for an update about their modifications. He's impressed that their users engaged in the new criteria have a significant success rate. They're also getting a profit in millions. Vivi suggests making Datamate more personal with in-person interactions. Adam feels dating apps are popular, so people can meet without actually meeting. Nella suggests they can still use different prompts, like learning more about their parents' relationship, for the app. This will increase engagement, and Adam also likes the idea since the advertisers will love it. Nella helps Vivi get ready for her second 3 dates, but Boom refuses to admit how great she looks. Vivi starts enjoying all her dates, but finds Nella spying on her. Raina has put her up to this, so she can get an outsider's perspective on her dates. She knows Vivi will be too immersed in the attraction to notice the bigger picture. Boom chaperones her date with Paul, who brags about the animals he rescued. When Vivi mentions her parents can't handle a dog, Paul comments on how they have a lot to deal with anyway. He thinks her parents are too negative and feels all families should be socially refined. She's offended by him insulting her folks and breaks it off with him. Vivi feels like Paul struck a nerve because she's also trying to accept her parents. Boom thinks it's because she has buried her emotions deep down since childhood. Vivi admits she has terrible childhood memories, but is trying to accept her parents the way they are. Boom has also been raised to understand that even if we don't agree with our folks, we still have to care for them. Why don't they see their own chemistry? Boom thinks she needs a change, and brings her to Priya and Amit's engagement. Vivi hugs Raina for caring so much about her dates. She has made Vivi realize how much Datamate lacks a human touch. Vivi is fascinated by the Indian traditions and asks Boom about what the lamps symbolize. He explains they mean different things, but his favorite is the one about overcoming ignorance with wisdom. He recalls how easy it was to set up Priya and Amit. He explains all the ceremonies and the significance behind them before the official ring exchange. Boom tries to run away from some friends he hasn't spoken to in years. Vivi knows he lost touch after his dad passed but feels it's important to make an effort with some relationships. She knows he's spontaneous because he doesn't want to deal with what's in front of him. Good catch. She asks him to be wise like the lamp and fix things. Way to use a reference. Boom reconnects with Vicky and her daughter Jaya, and seems happy. Boom gets a stole from an auntie for Vivi so she doesn't feel cold. It's time to dance, and Vivi gels with everyone on the dance floor. Vicky asks Boom when he's planning to settle down. Boom is waiting for the right woman who has a generous heart and still knows how to take control. He keeps looking at Vivi when he describes how open-minded she would be, and he would think about her all the time. We have some sure signs here. Boom thanks Vivi for helping him reconnect, and he's even considering going back to India to see his family. Boom claims he was being spontaneous when he got her along for this event. He's glad he did because she looks relaxed. She comes closer to kiss him, but he pushes her away. He reminds her of her dates with Leonard and Tristan, and even she feels awkward enough to leave. Raina wonders what's going on between them, but Boom insists she's just a client. Clearly she is not. Nella and Vivi are getting a lot of respect in the office because of their success with Raina. Walter gives Vivi some stuff from her room. They're converting it into a home fitness center so they can work out together. Walter and Janice are now being very nice to each other and feel it's the result of the marriage counseling. Boom is glad to see her parents and offers to help Vivi with the boxes. He makes fun of her teddy, but admits even his parents saved his old toys. When Janice mentions a first kiss, Vivi and Boom get defensive. Surely, nothing is going on between them. They're relieved she's referring to another toy Vivi used to kiss as a kid. Raina introduces Vivi to Arvind, a Vedic astrologer. He explains how it's different from, and more detailed than, reading regular horoscopes. He claims to know how things will work out based on the stars and a person's moral character from the past life. Boom feels Vivi might think this stuff is mystical, but she feels the information they need is similar to what users give out for datamate. While Vedic astrology tries to indicate if the paths of two people will align, Vivi knows Datamate's algorithm also seeks compatible matches. Boom is impressed with the comparison and thinks they should use it to explain astrology in a modern way. Arvind tries to match her horoscopes with her dates but feels Leonard and Vivi might face a lot of disagreements and obstacles. Leonard is offended and keeps trying to get Arvind's credentials. He keeps arguing with Vivi when she tries to defend Arvind's methods. He becomes rude and breaks it off with her. This prediction was surprisingly quick. Arvind feels a relationship with Tristan for Vivi will be calm. It's also encouraging when Tristan believes in astrology and camping to see the stars. When Boom tries to pay Arvind, he checks his details and asks Reina for the time of birth. He realizes that Boom and Vivi are a perfect match, but Boom tries to make him leave. He pretends that Arvind thinks Tristan is a perfect match for Vivi and asks them to keep dating. Tristan invites Vivi out that weekend, but she doesn't seem sure even if she agrees. Vivi gets drunk before her date with Tristan, but she's thinking about how Boom seems good for her. Finally, someone sees it. She didn't like him initially but feels like they've gotten closer. She likes how caring and fun he is and respects his success as an entrepreneur and his relationship with his mom. She thinks he understands her but doesn't get why he's pulling away. Vivi still thinks Tristan is great on paper, so she needs to work with him to fix Datamate. Nella can tell how Vivi feels about Boom and reminds her Reina's process only works if Vivi is honest about her feelings. Vivi's folks are heading out for their anniversary dinner and ask her to come for breakfast a little later. Vivi thinks they're getting back together is a good sign, and she should try and make this work with Tristan, who wants to be with her. Vivi tries to look for Boom at the football game, but he hides from her. That's so mature. Vicky knows something is going on between Boom and Vivi. He remembers what Pratik used to say about true friends always pointing out what the other refuses to see. Boom understands what he's hinting at, but chooses to ignore it. Tristan takes Vivi rock climbing, where she seems a bit uncomfortable. He reassures her, but they realize they're not in sync. He doesn't think that's an issue because they can always work on it. Tristan kisses Vivi and is happy to wait for her to decide if they might work out for good. Vivi finds that her parents have stayed up talking all night. They want to get a divorce since the counseling helped them hear each other out. They now know they can't keep lying to themselves and need to live separately. Vivi is angry at them for giving up after so many years and walks out. Tristan asks for another date right then, so she agrees to meet him after doing some research. 3 weeks later, Vivi and Tristan have coordinated their clothes, even if it doesn't fit his style. He wants to talk to her about work, but they are shown their table. She doesn't like the movie he suggests, so he decides to watch something she wants. This pattern seems too familiar. Reina is waiting to get updates from them, but Tristan needs to discuss something with Vivi first. She gets mad at him for not respecting their commitment to Reina as a unit, which is apparently bad for her research. Oh no. Tristan admits he got a job offer out of state and has been thinking about whether he should move. He wants them to work but breaks up with her because their vibe has changed. Vivi blames Reina and is disappointed that her methods failed her too. Vivi is expecting Nella when Boom turns up at her place to check on her. She hasn't been responding to his texts, and he heard about what happened outside his house. He tries to make her understand that he is genuinely concerned, but she feels he has come to gloat since he doesn't believe in love. He knows she's not in a mood to talk but assures her she deserves better. This breakup seems worse than what happened with Kenny because she can't blame Tristan now. She wonders if she's just not made for love. Walter and Janice are glad Vivi decided to help them move out. She finds some drawings she made as a kid and realizes how they are fighting in all of them. Vivi knows she has been always in the middle, fighting to get them back together. She realizes she has grown up dreaming about a perfect partnership that she has only witnessed through her data. She now knows that by trying to optimize love, her relationships have become worse. Isn't that what Boom said too? Walter assures her their relationship only ended because they never worked on it. He also feels his problems with Janice don't have to apply to Vivi's relationships. Boom changes a light bulb at his mother's place and hesitates before going into the prayer room. He admits to Reina that he always passes by the room because it reminds him that his dad is gone. He knows Reina misses him more and is alone now. Reina realizes Boom took a larger share of the business so he could keep checking up on her. Boom admits Pratik would have wanted Reina to never be alone, which is why he's always there. Reina also understands that he doesn't want a real relationship because he feels it will make Reina lonelier. Reina claims she still takes comfort in the great love she shared with Pratik, even if she's sad about him not being around. She knows Boom is a great son, but assures him she will be happier if he finds love. Boom also thinks going back to India to see his dad's family will help him make peace with the fact that he's gone. Raina teases him about always being around and insists he needs to live his life. Adam informs Vivi that her Raina experiment has boosted their user base and profits. A huge percentage of the users even ended up in long-term relationships. Adam still feels Datamate will be more profitable with repeat users who don't find love, so he wants to scrap the Raina modifications. He feels Vivi has proven herself and offers her a promotion. Vivi happily quits her job after hearing this and calls Raina to apologize. She knows Raina has always cared for her. Raina knows since Vivi realizes she is her own obstacle in love, she can also clear her path. Vivi wonders where Boom is since he's not answering his phone, so Raina informs her about him leaving for India. Nella drives her to Boom's place, but they realize he might have left already. Vivi still feels Raina has helped her find who she is, so her process has worked perfectly. She is matched with herself and feels she doesn't want any timelines or planning anymore. She's even ready to meet Boom whenever he's back. Boom hasn't left yet and came to see her after he heard from Raina she might be at his apartment. Boom admits he was scared of initiating something with her since she was his client. He was also afraid of how she would fit in with his family and if he was bold enough to take a chance in love. Vivi fires him so she's no longer her client. Boom also knows now that she fits in perfectly and makes his family life even better. He insists he's willing to take the risk too if she opens herself to love and kisses her. 1 year later, Raina is proud Boom is finally getting married and tears up. Raina informs Vivi that the app she and Nella made for her is a huge success. Vivi feels it's also because of Raina and Boom, and this is a family business now. Raina gives Vivi her bangles before the ceremony, and feels like she's the daughter she never had. Vivi and Boom get married in a beautiful Indian ceremony and celebrate their reception with a kiss and a dance.